I thought that...
Show about me? Well, about time.
Look who's here. Hi. Yeah, we were wondering how it all happened at the beginning.
Nobody knows what happened at the beginning.
Oh, come on, Pop. Unwind us. They want to see how I was born.
You old hot gas bag, you keep still.
Now, don't flip your sickle, Pop. The man says it's just a show.
He's a romantic fool.
What is up, everybody? Welcome into the Losers Lounge. First, no, it's a trombone. Yeah, the first one, the first lounge of 2021, and it's a Losers Lounge. Calendar did nothing. I missed 2020.
Shocker.
I missed 2020, guys.
It didn't just work this time. This time it didn't just work when you kind of flipped the calendar.
So many more wins in the year 2020.
We did have so many more wins. Man, there's a lot to talk about tonight, guys, because I feel like there are a lot of layers to tonight's game. Some positive things, like this is not going to be a sunshines and rainbows type of post-game show, but there were at least a few things that you can be encouraged by, but there were plenty more that you can be discouraged by. I'm Adam Mares. I'm joined. You guys see we have a three-person set today. Brendan Vogt replacing Mr. Wind at Pepsi Center. He's going to be talking to Michael Malone, some of the players in the post-game today, and then he'll be reporting back to us. But I'm joined by the man himself in studio, Harrison Wind.
I just want to take a day off from the game just so I could be on the podcast again.
Yeah.
I feel like I haven't been on the show in like weeks, so.
It's not as fun as you remember it, is it?
Well, this is a lot different than the lounges after the bubble were, for sure.
I mean, it does feel, and then I'm joined, of course, by D-Line Co.
What's up, guys? Did you guys happen to catch that game?
we all caught it.
And by the way, Dev, we missed Dev.
We do miss Dev. He's not here. He's out. But seriously though, last year we didn't have that many really down lounge. I mean, you start. What was the start of the season? Like 11-2 or something like that. You get off to a hot start, so you never had that moment of like, what is this team? Where are they going? Like you always knew, like, okay, they're a playoff team. They're good. This or that. And I still think that it's too early to really press the panic button on the season. But be honest, guys, it's hard to be too optimistic about it as well, because some of the flaws that are happening that we're going to talk about aren't the type that you can just dust under the fridge.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to push the panic button for sure. It's too early. We know the core pieces of this team fit really well together. We know that, but there are a lot of concerns. I mean, just kind of speaking about the game tonight, my like overarching thought is it felt like Phoenix tried to give this game away. Like they
ran out of gas. They did what Denver did at Sacramento when they were on a back-to-back.
The Suns were in Utah last night on the toughest back-to-back in the league. They beat the Jazz. The Suns are legit. Also.
The Suns are very good.
Very
good team.
And look, they tried to give it away. The turnovers, like all the fouls Phoenix was whistled for in the fourth quarter, and Denver stepped up its defense, played really well, and just couldn't close. So it's just disappointing because this was obviously one Denver should have had.
Well, usually I start by asking, and you kind of gave your first take. Usually I'd ask you, but I'm going to interrupt and give mine here first because I want to set the stage. The starters tonight won. You know, Paul Millsap only plays 19 minutes. He's at 0. Jokic gets into that foul trouble, which we're going to talk about. That was a big thing. He's a +1. But Jamal Murray, the +10. Gary Harris. And if you go to the other side and look at Phoenix, every single one of their starters in the negative. Denver won those minutes. Yep. Their starters won the minutes. But once again, you look at the minute totals. Jamal Murray plays 41 minutes tonight. He was fantastic. I mean, this was bubble Murray.
This was really the first takeover that Murray's had this season.
And it wasn't even like Jamal Murray's had great games in previous years, but this one to me felt more like bubble Murray in that like he was getting to his spots and getting those shots. He was fantastic, but he plays 41 minutes tonight. Will Barton and Gary Harris both play 36 minutes tonight. Like 36 is a lot. 41 is an insane amount for a regular season game. Jokic only, quote unquote, plays 30 minutes, and that was with them not playing in foul trouble. Michael Malone cannot play this bench right now, and that is, to me, is the storyline.
He knows it too,
and he knows it.
He said it after that last loss to Sacramento. I'm sure he's said it tonight. Just looking at the minutes totals, he knows it. But we'll talk about the bench. But he doesn't trust his bench. He's looking for answers on who to play, what combinations to play. He's lost when it comes to his bench right now, and I don't blame him for being lost.
So after the Sacramento game, I said, the bench looked terrible, but I think you had to stick with them because the Nuggets ran out of steam, and you knew they were going to on the second night of a back-to-back and whatever. But after watching him tonight, you watch it and you go, could he have stayed in Sacramento? Could he have stayed with them for 2 more minutes, 3 more minutes? I don't think he could have. Yeah. They were hemorrhaging points tonight, just hemorrhaging points every second that they're on the court, and it's a real concern because it'd be one thing if we looked at it and we're like, shots aren't falling or, a couple miscues here and there. You try to conceptualize what that bench is supposed to be, and it's hard to make sense of it because it just, Campazzo, Dozier at the power forward again. You think you get Jermichael Green back, maybe they're going to go a little bit bigger. So maybe some of this is Malone's rotation, and we can kind of argue about that, but tonight is just another example, and it's a growing trend with this Nuggets. They desperately need a win, and they just do not trust anybody other than their core couple of guys. By the way, we talk about the starters. Will Barton, Gary Harris, not exactly lighting the world on fire on either end of the court.
Man, there's so many. God, Gary Harris loses the ball for a sure.
Oh man, if we rewind this game exactly, Gary Harris missed dunk. Will Barton misses a steal that was a great defensive play.
Will Barton actually had a couple great defensive
down the stretch.
plays down the stretch. Probably the play of the game, recovering to block that Jay Crowder 3 in the corner. That was like a game-saving play maybe. And then that other one that led to the Booker 3, that was just unlucky. Yeah. Unlucky.
So I think Barton was bad in this game.
Yeah.
I think he had a really bad game. I think he had a great final 5 minutes.
Agreed.
I don't know how you weigh that or grade that or what have you, but to your point, Eric, Gary Harris misses a layup. I don't know what he was trying to tomahawk dunk at that moment.
He missed a layup. He missed a dunk.
He missed a dunk. Sloppy. Will Barton misses that steal.
If you guys watch Gary on his layups, he always goes up with one hand.
Yeah, he
always goes up with one hand. If he's in the lane, if he's on a fast break, it's never come back to bite him before, but it did tonight.
But it's true.
He just lost it.
The larger point is that the bench just puts the starters in such a bad position. They just have to dig out, and then a play like that becomes magnified 1,000%. But the game was lost as soon as Jokic got his fourth foul in the third quarter.
Right.
It was just, man. And the other thing is we haven't seen. I'm really curious to see what it looks like when Greg Whittington comes in. I mean, we brought this up before.
Is Greg Whittington a real person?
Is he a real person?
Is he a real person?
He signed.
I think I saw him today on the bench, but I'm not sure because I'm not sure what he looks like.
They signed him as a defensive specialist, right? Yeah. And defense on the bench is as bad as it can get right now. With always playing 3 guards, there's just comically open dunks that are happening. Just any big player, nobody's even contesting when the larger players are going out for it's a mess, man.
So I don't want to go away from the bench here, but I think you look at this game and you look at it and you go, when Jokic was on the court, he was fantastic. I mean, he finishes again 1 rebound shy of a triple-double, 17 points, 11 assists, 9 rebounds, goes 7 of 13, including 3 of 5 from 3. That's a phenomenal stat line for when he was on the court. Now, we talk about Jokic. First foul of the game, a take foul.
Yep.
A take foul. He gets through, I think, the whole first quarter or close to it without a foul, and he gives one on purpose. Now, look, in most years, you got a bench. Let's say you have an average bench. Jokic being on the court or not fouling, to stop transition. If you don't foul, you give up 2 points. Jokic not being on the court in most years is worth 6-7 points, right, over the course of a game. If he gets in foul trouble, that's a 6-point swing. With this team, it's a 20-point swing. Yeah. I mean, with him right now, if he has to go to the bench and you have to rely on Hartenstein, who's struggling, or just undersized, have to go to all these guards. So I think that Jokic has reduced his take fouls over the years. He has to completely eliminate them to the point that he might have to give up wide open dunks, because I would rather him give up 7 dunks per game on transition than take a single take foul at this moment. And I really hope that message gets through to him.
If he could just never do a Euro foul or a take foul ever again, I would be totally fine with that.
That take foul was bad, but the sequence where he got 2 fouls right in a row, neither one was a foul.
There were some very questionable calls for sure, but, if he didn't have that one foul,
right,
he wouldn't have had to worry about it.
But there is something too, and this is Michael Malone. I understand why you don't challenge a second foul. Although if it was me and it's Jokic, I would, just because it's every foul is so important.
Every foul
with Jokic that is not a foul. You challenge it. And it was the altitude broadcast we were watching. We didn't notice if he pulled, like it looked like he pulled the chair, but they don't show all the replays. So I don't know about that one. Maybe an alternative broadcast showed an angle where that one was. But the one after it was, I think, for sure not a foul. And that was his third. And that one you do challenge because it was the third in the first half and Malone didn't. And I thought we were talking about it as we're watching it. It's like, man, you have to challenge that. You can't trust him. Malone then challenges the fourth foul, which was so obviously a foul.
That had 0% chance
It
of
had
getting
0% chance of getting, and you look at that and you just go, what on earth are you doing? I think a little bit of panic, from Malone's part of just the, oh God, it's a Hail Mary or what have you. So, but Jokic tonight, he's such a good player and he's at the peak of his powers right now that he can't afford to give himself any Achilles heel, and I thought he did that tonight.
I will say he played a pretty perimeter-oriented game tonight.
Great point.
5 attempts from 3, way more than usual. I mean, he hit 3 of them, so it's fine. But I expected him to try to post up, or I expected the Nuggets to try to post him up on DeAndre Ayton a lot more than he did tonight. He was floating around a lot on the perimeter, and I mean, Nuggets only put up 103 points tonight.
Right.
That's another thing. Phoenix, I actually believe, is the best defense in the league so far this season. How? I mean, I don't know, other than the Chris Paul effect. I mean, DeAndre Ayton, I guess, has improved. But Mikal Bridges is a really good defender as well. They've got Jay Crowder, too. So they do have good personnel. But, I mean, only 103 points from the Nuggets tonight.
And another thing, though, about them, the great offense.
Yeah.
And if you have a great offense, you could put pressure on teams to take the ball out of the net. I mean, these things are not disconnected. That's why I hate talking about basketball in terms of, one end of the court or the other, because oftentimes there is a correlation here for, one flows into the other. With Jokic, though, your perimeter comment, I think, was great because we were talking about Jokic has been so good in the post this year that you thought, take Ayton down. Like, Ayton's not a great defender. Take him down there and
get him in foul trouble a little bit.
Maybe get him in foul trouble. And I wonder if one of the things that happened in this game was, sometimes Denver will have a playbook, and we thought he was shooting the 3 early, and we thought he's trying to draw him out. That's the first punch. That's the jab, and then you go to the haymaker, right?
Right.
And I think they just never got there because Jokic got in foul trouble.
Exactly.
And it was also a Jamal Murray game, too. That's another part of this. Murray was dominant, and he really stepped up when Jokic started picking up those fouls in the second half, and they kind of shifted everything, to center around Jamal Murray.
Yeah, it is true. Like, that's a great point. Like, it felt like they had some sort of plan in place, but it's just like Mike Tyson says, everyone has a plan until you get punched, and then all of a sudden they were, like, scrambling. Michael Malone was putting whatever kind of lineups he could. Like RJ Hampton was in for a minute.
RJ Hampton was in.
That
was
wild.
If you want to know how much Michael Malone trusts his bench right now, RJ Hampton, he was just like, man, rookie has whatever. We'll put him out there.
Yeah, is there a single bench player you guys feel good about right now?
Monte Morris,
who's not really tonight. He played 30 minutes.
He's pretty much a starter.
He's pretty much a starter.
Yeah.
But outside of that, absolutely not.
I mean, I liked what JaMychal Green did tonight.
Yeah, actually, that's true.
Only 12 minutes, which I wonder if, they don't want to play him that much coming back from the injury. I would think, because I'm pretty sure Denver has him penciled in for more than 12 minutes on a night-to-night basis.
Some of this is situational, too, though. Jay Crowder playing a lot, So some of the 4, they go small, so you kind of match up with it a little bit. But and I don't know if JaMychal Green is the type of guy that you can go big to be like, well, they have to guard us, because he's basically just a tall perimeter player on offense. So, so I don't know there, but. Before we get to the bench, because the bench is going to require its own segment, and we're going to have to dissect every angle. Let's get to who was easily. Do we have the graphic already for King of the Game? Let's get to the King of the Game tonight, which was, the lone, I would say, bright spot today, and that was Jamal Murray. Just like I said, Bubble Murray, 31 points tonight, 41 minutes, goes 12 of 22 from the field and 4 of 9 from 3. 4 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals.
Yeah, I put it 4 assists. He had 5 assists.
He had 5. You really botched that one. He had 4 rebounds. I feel like that could have made the graphic.
4 rebounds. I wasn't impressed by any of this.
4 of 9 from 3. I'm impressed by, and I thought he played great defense tonight too. I'll have to go back and watch. Defense usually takes me at least two watches to kind of get through, but there were moments that stood out defensively.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think Denver's defense was that bad tonight, to be quite honest. If you think back to the first half, Phoenix was unbelievably hot from 3. Yeah, the first quarter. Cam Johnson, Langston Galloway, these guys were hitting tough contested threes.
Miles Bridges.
Yeah, I don't think it was the worst defense we've seen from Denver this year for sure. And in the second half, fourth quarter, they obviously ramped it up. Gary Harris played great defense on Devin Booker in the fourth quarter.
Yep.
I thought Jamal Murray was good defensively. I thought Will Bart was pretty good defensively in the fourth. So defense wasn't the issue tonight. I mean, in the first quarter it was, but I don't think that was kind of the deciding factor.
What did you think of Jamal's game tonight, Eric?
Jamal kind of did what he needed to. His game was like not as complete as we needed it to be, unfortunately. Like, I mean, I think you've said it a lot. Like, he has sort of a chaotic energy that can lift the team up, but also sort of like can scramble the team at times.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to like really nitpick him too much because he just rose up so much on the offensive side and gave us exactly what we needed there. You know, if we were able to get a little bit of the two-man game, our beloved two-man game, we've seen, I think, 0 times this year, but with he and Jokic, Jokic being out, like, just changes what Jamal does on the court so much. I don't know. It just, I still can't believe they didn't pull that game out. I was sure they were going to do it. When as soon as they went up and hit that three with like 2 minutes left, it was like, okay, well, here it is. Second night of a back-to-back. The Suns are going to go out just like the Nuggets did against Sacramento a few days before. I mean, it's just like the way it's set up for the NBA to go on these stupid back-to-backs. It's just the Nuggets are just so chaotic at the moment. They just don't make a lot of sense at a lot of times.
Yeah. Another thing, last year we were talking about this as the game happened. The Nuggets, one of the best, I think the second best team in the clutch last year. The number one team, Oklahoma City Thunder. Not because of the Thunder players, because of Chris Paul. And, of course, you see that tonight. I mean, Denver, I thought, outclosed the Phoenix. They just were starting from so far behind that they caught almost all the way back up, but not quite. And then Chris Paul good enough to make just enough plays down the stretch, including a very impressive final bucket falling away that was smooth.
Something to D-Line's point that I was just thinking about throughout the game. The Phoenix Suns just make so much sense on paper.
They really do.
How their roster is
great
constructed, the shooters around Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton, the defensive personnel that they brought in. And I know the Nuggets were missing Michael Porter Jr. tonight and probably will be missing him for a couple games, but the Nuggets roster construction, it's not perfect. You know, there's some weird elements to this roster for sure. And you've got a shooting guard right now who can't shoot. You've got Will Barton, who doesn't look healthy to me. And the bench, it didn't really make sense to us on paper when the season opened, and it hasn't made sense so far.
Well, we have to take a bit of an L because we got more optimistic about it. You're right that when it happened, we were low on it as we saw it in the preseason. Maybe like, oh, okay, the ball's going to get popping. But, I mean, there is no, for me personally, there's no optimism for that bench. It's not a like, just a couple more games and we're going to start seeing this or that. Like, I think Denver's going to have to find a new approach with these guys, meaning maybe a different combination of players and some good players cut out. Some not so good players might have to get elevated just to hope that the fit is better.
What is your ideal bench lineup if you had to?
No, I love that question, but we got to take a break because this is the bench is going to be our whole next topic. It's that big of a topic.
It's going to be actually our whole show.
It might be the rest of the show
as well.
It might be the rest of the show, but let's take our first break. I didn't mean to interrupt it. It's a good question, but let's do our first break.
Yeah, well, I'm actually excited about this because I've never gotten to talk about this company because I haven't been doing the reads. It's been weird, but Hassel Cattle Company. Hassel Cattle Company equals hassle-free meat for life. We were fortunate to get a delivery. I think we all did from Hassel Cattle Company. The Wagyu beef that they've got is absolutely top-notch. Like, I don't know. I've never been one to like just cook up a steak for dinner. Like, I don't know. It's just not something I've done a lot in my life. But, I mean, you put one of those on the stove and, like, it's sublime. It's awesome stuff. Hassel Cattle Company offers Wagyu smoked sausage, New York strip, beef bacon, Wagyu Frank, 2 jerky flavors. I've had the New York strip. I've had the bacon. And it's unbelievable.
Yeah,
so can't recommend these guys enough. If you guys use promo code DNVR10 at hasslecattlecompany.com, HASSELL, you guys will get 10% off. And any orders over $200, you'll receive free shipping. So check them out. You guys won't be disappointed. It's awesome meat. It's an awesome company as well. Also, check out Green Mountain Dental Group. A lot of us go there to get our teeth cleaned, to get cavities filled. A couple of us have gotten our wisdom teeth out from there. Great people. Great at what they do. They care about you as a customer. Get a free Sonicare toothbrush from them when you schedule a cleaning, x-ray, and exam. Conveniently located just 15 minutes from downtown Denver. Hit them up today. Get a free Sonicare toothbrush when you schedule a cleaning, x-ray, and exam.
All right. Guys, if
Brennan Vogt is here and ready as well.
He's already freaking ready. Should we go there? Should we go there now? I guess we can.
God, sound less excited.
Well, it's just so fast. I mean, I don't know how it takes you like 40 minutes. I don't know what's happening. Brendan Vogt much more efficient than Harrison Wood. But before we do, guys, we've got the haters in the chat tonight with the downvote.
Haters in the building.
Give it haters in the building. Hey, we're mad just like you guys are upset about this game, man. This one we don't hide it. We like to see the Nuggets win, so we're as upset. So counteract them. Give us a like. Get us to subscribe.
Yeah, man.
The onus is on me to get us up 1,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you're not subscribed, help me out.
Subscribe, like and subscribe.
I don't want to I don't want a tough review at the end of January with the
give
boss
us a
man.
like.
All right. Why don't we go to the hotline here and bring in Brendan Vogt. Brendan.
You ready? I can come back later.
I was just shocked at how quickly you
I'm excited to see you, Brendan. I'm excited to see you.
So, honestly, what should we read into this that the interviews are done already?
Michael Malone wanted to get going.
Is that Ryan Blackburn?
That's Ryan Blackburn, who's on his way out, as Michael Malone was eager to be tonight. So I think that's why we got going.
Shouts to Blackburn. All right, so Michael Malone was eager to get out of the building. Is that what you think?
He was eager to get started. I was about, let's go, I believe, were the first things he said when he sat down. So,
Wow. So I take it the mood from Michael Malone was not great.
No, it wasn't. He was reflective. He was not deflective. He owned up his own responsibility here. Said he needs to coach a lot better. But, quote, I don't know if we've yet to put together a 40-minute game, end quote. He said he loved the energy and how hard they played. But, look, this isn't year 1 or 2. This was a team that was in the Western Conference Finals last season. So we really shouldn't be talking about things like effort and heart. It's about wins. So right now, that's just where his head's at. It sucks to be 1-4.
So effort and heart, okay. I could see some of that.
Do you mean Hartenstein?
I was going to say it felt more like it feels. We're talking about it more as a bench problem. I mean, this has been several games now, but tonight maybe no game more demonstrated that. Did he talk about the bench? And when he's talking about effort and heart, do you think he's specifically referencing that group, the second unit?
Well, he did like that group in the third quarter, which was sort of a mix, right? That went on that run. I believe Hartenstein was
after Jokic and foul trouble. Yep.
Yeah, but look, a big theme of this availability was talking about how the bench just hasn't been good enough. He said he's going to have to look at the film. He takes responsibility. A lot of the sort of cliche answers there didn't get too specific as to what it is that's holding them back, but he sees what the rest of us do, that it's game 5 and he's already leaning heavily on his starters. He wanted to, he's staggering Jamal and Jokic, but he feels he shouldn't have to lean on these guys as heavily as he is.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably like my top worry right now, that Jokic and Murray, after a short off season, are just going to get run down, during this grueling regular season. That's where a lot of games are packed into not a lot of time. Like, it's a legit worry for sure.
I almost feel like Jamal Murray had to reset his mind. Tonight felt like a different. I know Murray has had the Murray Flurry in a couple of these games, but tonight felt like the first night he was locked in, meaning like he was like, this is important. I'm playing like it actually matters.
He always goes off against Phoenix too.
So, but I felt like it was a reset. And I wonder if part of what you're talking about, the short off season, I wonder if it was for him this like, we can't ease into this. We have to go, and his attempt to do that. But to your point, 40 minutes, we're on game 5. Like there's 67 more games of this. Like, I don't know, man. It is concerning. What else did Malone point out in his post game?
He did talk about JaMychal Green, small sample size, but he said that's what we envisioned when we signed JaMychal, end quote, talking about that rebounding toughness and the ability to spread the floor. So that was pretty much the lone positive, guys. He did like the way JaMychal looked, but again, that's marred by a collective effort from that second unit that, once again, just wasn't good enough. And that's really what we talked about, the bench and basically just Malone and everyone taking responsibility and admitting that no matter how you slice it, 1-4 isn't good enough.
Did he mention if JaMychal Green was on a minutes limit at all? Because, I mean, only 12 minutes. I thought he would have played more.
He did not, and he was not asked that question, so I guess we were missing you today, Harrison.
What about the question about the foul challenge? I mean, maybe it was confusing us watching from the broadcast, but it looks so obviously a foul on Jokic that they challenged, and it looked like some of the previous ones maybe weren't fouls and he didn't challenge. Did he kind of clarify what he was thinking?
He did not clarify. He did say that, sometimes he gets explanations from the officials when he asks. Some explanations are better than others. Didn't really want to go into it too much, but he did not talk much about the rationale and his challenges tonight. I'll just add, I thought it was weird the way he challenged that last foul in the third and not the ones earlier. In the
it was such a clear foul. Like he just elbows him in the face.
So I think what they were saying on the broadcast, what Scott Hastings and Chris Morrow were saying was Denver was trying to point out that there was a defensive foul
that happened before
right,
which
the offensive foul.
And there wasn't.
Which there really wasn't. So,
I mean, they were just grasping at straws at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing about the NBA fouls or the challenge system is they so rarely turn over fouls. I mean, last season
it needs to be out of bounds. Like it's really what you challenge.
The one that we saw overturned on Gary tonight was like the one that you see overturned, which was just like so clearly not a foul. Even had Malone challenged those previous ones, they wouldn't have overturned them. There's no chance.
Yeah, probably.
I don't think refs want to make those decisions when it comes down to points, and I wonder if Malone would have better luck, challenging those plays that are more about, hey, that was Yoke's third and he didn't need to pick it up, or his fourth, as opposed to trying to take 2 points off the board. But I digress.
Who else spoke tonight?
Jamal Murray spoke. He was a lot more confident than Michael Malone. And I asked him, how much of this second unit struggles can be ascribed to or attributed to the slow start or the lack of an offseason, lack of a training camp. And he was adamant that, look, this is a different season. And he said not everyone has had the same amount of time off. Said the Nuggets are focused on getting right at their own pace. And he feels like they're close. They're going to get those wins. It's little things, focus. He feels like, every time they're on a run, there's just like some little mental lapse or something that throws them off. So he doesn't think they're playing poorly. He thinks they're very close. And he's really stressing that if there's ever been a season where you're patient in terms of giving these guys to develop, it's this one.
So, yeah, and he's not wrong about that. There is a bigger margin of error because 10 teams get invited to the dance. So, you hope.
But if the Nuggets drop to the 7 or 8, like that's
of course. But hey, man, it's 1-4, and I'm not. There's a lot of season left. Obviously, all this stuff can change. But I'm just saying, if you really want to look back at the big picture,
for sure.
But one thing I'll say to kind of defend Jamal Murray's comment there, as I'm watching the game tonight and watching them come back in that fourth quarter, and watching just how all of these games have gone, they just needed Murray. He was the one missing piece. They've got Jokic and Murray, and that's good enough for That's good enough to tow an enormous anchor. Like this bench unit is atrocious, and they still can almost win with it. So I understand Murray's how he feels because when he's on the court, especially with Jokic, they are good.
Right. The Nuggets don't need the bench unit to be a plus.
Right.
They might not even need it to just be an average. Like they don't need it to be 0. They need it to be like negative 2 or 3 on a nightly basis,
Yeah, like you could lose, but not just get obliterated.
Right.
He can't get beat that bad. Yeah. What else did Murray have to say, or is there other people that talked?
It was a lot of the same for Murray. I mean, that's mostly what he talked about. We also heard from Jermichael Green, who was bummed they didn't get the win, but with a smile on his face told us he was excited to be back out there, was tired of sitting on the sidelines. And a big theme from Jermichael, again, was the same thing. The second unit, he says, they are figuring it out on the fly. He said, we did not have time to play together to get to know each other. They still don't. And so to your guys' point, what you were just saying, he's confident that once the second unit figures this out, if the second unit figures this out, that Denver's going to be a dangerous team again. Because that, to what you guys were just saying, that's really the difference right now. Murray and Yoke look good enough. Porter looked good when he was playing. So give these guys some time is the message, I think, from the guys on the second unit. They see what we see, but they're confident they can turn it around.
Yeah. Man, anybody else speak, or was that it?
That's it. It was a short one, guys.
What were people saying around Pepsi Center? And I know the vibe is weird. This is your first time there, and you were texting us, telling us the vibe is extremely strange.
It is weird, fellas. It is weird. There's no one here. So to answer your question, I can't answer your question. I don't know. There's no one to talk to.
So weird, man.
I got to say, it's got to be a lot easier when you're a team like the Celtics and you can just drop all of your title banners.
Yeah.
The Nuggets just went with Denver Nuggets, Denver Nuggets, Denver Nuggets.
They could drop those Northwest Division banners.
Yeah, Northwest Division banners. There you are.
They could drop the Colorado Mammoth banners.
Oh, yeah. Avalanche have been...
there they are.
They're somewhere up there.
Mammoth had a good run there. They had a really nice
run. They were
good.
good.
Very good run.
Good team.
Well, do you have any other notes for us? I mean, we've kind of haven't even gotten to our bench and some of the issues here. But before you get out, do you want to tell us what you think is ailing this team tonight?
I actually thought the defense was a little bit better tonight. I mean, it doesn't seem that way results-wise, but Phoenix hit a lot of contested shots.
Yeah.
Now, I'm saying this, I realize how many teams are going to walk into Ball Arena, shoot the lights out. Okay, that's a pattern, right?
It's Ball Arena for a reason.
Right. But I agree with Murray in that I thought they were a little bit closer tonight. I do defensively, and Phoenix just made some tough shots. The reality is I think if the bench just plays better, the starters pull this thing out. So it's getting closer. But look, Phoenix was on the second game of one of the toughest back-to-backs in the entire schedule, and Denver looked like the sloppier team tonight. So that's a tough pill to swallow.
What about Hartenstein's conditioning tonight?
Good question.
Because I actually, it wasn't just that he played bad. I thought he looked exhausted, and he played 9 minutes.
Puffing,
I don't know what was going on.
When he sat down, it really looked like he had just.
I don't know if he got stunned or something on that shot he took under the basket, but he couldn't get back, or
that was my thought as well. That was my thought as well, Wind. It looked like he was slow to get up, maybe slow to catch his breath. There was a short stretch there where he was out there filling, Jokic's shoes admirably. But then I thought by the start of the fourth, he looked completely gassed. And a couple of those corner threes, were just because he was late getting down. So I'm with you. I thought he looked exhausted.
It wasn't even late getting down. It looked like he made the conscious decision not to go out there. Like he made a business decision of like that. I'm not going to make it in time.
I'm just going to fall over again.
Yeah. And then I wanted to ask, RJ Hampton, it was only 2 minutes, but I mean, what a shock that he got in. Was there any mention of his minutes tonight?
Yeah, he basically, he was just throwing anything against the wall at that point. The bench looked so poor, but he kind of, in the middle of just sort of like bemoaning, he snuck in there. I wanted to give him a shot. I think he's been working so hard. I think that kid has a bright future, I thought was an interesting tidbit.
That's a huge tidbit. That's a great tidbit. That's really good to hear. I guess we're looking for the tiniest morsels of positivity right now.
We've gone from Western Conference Finals to RJ Hampton looked good in his 3 minutes.
Delicious morsel.
If you would have told me that RJ Hampton would get in a game in significant minutes before Zeke Naji this season, I would have been like, you're crazy.
Yeah.
I think that speaks more to like how poorly the guards have been playing.
So crazy. I mean, I guess we could talk and I don't want to put you on the spot for this one because we're gonna talk about it, and I have a feeling we're gonna get a lot more downvotes here in a moment. But Campazzo tonight, there was a moment in this game where Chris Paul, I thought, made it his personal mission to humiliate Campazzo and succeeded. I think he succeeded at that.
Yeah, we talked. You worry about Facu's height and getting hunted out, right, in mismatches. But what about with Chris Paul, who is also short?
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be these big bruisers in the playoffs. Yeah, he was hunting him out. Looked like he was seeking to embarrass him. Look, the Campazzo thing to me, it doesn't make a ton of sense with how he's being used. And if he is not a floor general, I think it's fair to wonder, well, what was the point? Why is he here? And, he moves his feet so well, but what does it matter if guys can just shoot over the top? So Facu's got a world of talent. This is a guy who I'm willing to be patient with, but let's call a spade a spade. It's just not working out so far.
Yeah. I'm gonna call a spade here in a minute, and I think I'm gonna get a lot of hate because De'Aaron Fox right by him, like he wasn't even there. Chris Paul purposely seeking him out to go at him, and to your point, you're right.
I have a conspiracy theory on that.
Offensively, you're right that I think he could be used better, but he was brought over to be a two-way player, offensive and defensive. And so far, it's not just that his defense has been up and down. It's that
he's been a minus.
He's been an active, like, oh, my God, that guy is a target. He's a mark, and nobody's afraid of him. And that's, I think, the real concern. But, all right, well, we'll let you get out of Ball Arena, man. I know that must have not been that
Bounce
great.
On out.
It sounds like it's miserable being at Ball Arena, so we appreciate you taking one for the team tonight, letting Wind have the night off.
For sure, man. Even I wanted to hear more from Wind and less from myself. So it worked out for me, too.
All right, buddy. Have a good one.
All right,
see you, man.
Let's hit our last break, and then let's really dive into this. I mean, the last segment will be our longest segment because we need to talk about the bench. We're going to talk, obviously, about Campazzo, Hartenstein, Dozier, Dozier, not great tonight. But I also, want to talk about Michael Porter and, his absence because it happened Yesterday? When was it out? Today?
This morning.
This morning it was announced. Yeah, this morning. That's right. Is today the first? My God, this has been a long day.
It's been a long year, to be honest.
It's been a long year, 2021. Can't wait for it to end. All right, let's take a break. On the other side, though, let's get into the meat of the conversation.
All right. DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, putting you in the center of the action with endless ways to make it rain this upcoming week. Sports betting has never been this convenient. That's 100% true. It's almost too convenient. Almost too convenient. DraftKings Sportsbook is giving all new players a deposit bonus up to $1,000 when signing up using the promo code DNVR. Check out DraftKings Sportsbook every day this week to cash in on their daily odds boost. New boosts are posted every single day for all the biggest sporting events. So make sure to download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code DNVR when you sign up to get up to $1,000. That's code DNVR to get a deposit bonus up to $1,000 for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older. Colorado only. Bonus comprised of a first deposit bonus. Deposit bonus requires a 25x playthrough. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. Also, Chevalier Mortgage.
Well, before you go there, guess how I did on my bets tonight?
Oh.
Won all three.
Oh. I went 3.
I guess it was a success after all.
Some of us had a positive night.
I went 3 and 2.
Murray over 21. Good job, Murray. Under 220 total points. Won that one. 8.5 assists for Jokic. Man, how high are they going to have to put these assists for Jokic?
10.5, 11.
10.5, 11. I still might want to go. If you told me I had to bet on it and they said it was 11.5, I think I'm going to go over. He had 7 assists in like 3 minutes today.
Yeah, I think 7 in the first quarter.
He did have 7 in the first quarter. If not for those ridiculous fouls, like this would have been a monster.
There was a real moment in the
Jokic.
there was a real moment in the first quarter where like, could he break Scott Skiles'
We were like,
record?
is Jokic going to get 40 assists tonight?
Let's see. With Chevalier Mortgage, call Virginia Chevalier directly, 303-257-6578, or visit www.dnvrmortgage.com. Mike and Virginia Chevalier are not only diehard Broncos fans, they are DNVR supporters. They're DNVR members. They're part of the family. They're part of the community. They are a husband and wife team with over 15 years of financial services experience. Visit them at dnvrmortgage.com and enter to win a free DNVR shirt or hat of your choice. Most importantly, get set up for a free consultation to discuss all of your options. That's dnvrmortgage.com. Buying a house, it's a process. Taking out a loan, all that stuff's complicated. They make it super easy for you guys. Super easy, hassle-free. They're great at what they do, so check them out today. Also, I don't think we've done a DraftKings pick of the week this week. So do you guys have one? I can get one going right here.
Jokic assists whenever it's available. It was not even on the board to start off with. How did you bet Jokic assists?
Their DraftKings is on to. They're on to
they
Nikola
figured out
Jokic.
Jokic. Yeah.
They're on to Jokic.
Yeah.
You're right. I went 2-0. That was from a previous game.
Oh, yeah. Jokic is just not even on the board because it's like so unfair at this point.
Dang it! I thought I won that one too.
So like I personally like. I'm on to Murray now. I feel like Murray points are going to be something we see a lot of.
You might be onto something.
I think we've seen the emergence of Murray. I think he's sort of realizing the importance of his presence in the game, and like he can't sort of coast through it because the Nuggets don't have any. But like after their 2 big horses, and we still can't quite put all 3 together. We can't get
we just can't have nice things.
We can't get an MPJ, Murray, and Jokic game together yet. It's coming.
So I guess that's our DraftKings pick of the week. The next Nuggets game, this Timberwolves matchup against Malik Beasley.
Points.
Take the Murray points over.
Absolutely.
That's our pick of the week.
Yeah, against Malik Beasley. There might be a little back and forth there. I could see it. I would not be surprised. Well, Beasley's going to be gunning for Denver.
I would also take the Malik Beasley over in points, too.
He's going to be – Malik Beasley is going to be headhunting that game.
No 45 points on 45 shots.
40. Oh, for sure. That's a great estimate. 45 on 45.
Can I share my Campazzo Chris Paul conspiracy before we get into this here?
Please.
Okay, so –
where's our conspiracy?
Yeah, give me that.
We don't have it.
On the other side? Where's that at?
Oh, no. We don't have the conspiracy hat. Oh, wow.
All right, pretend I'm wearing the conspiracy hat. So – in the 2012 Olympics, Argentina and the United States played. In that game at the very end, Campazzo took a cheap shot at Carmelo Anthony. Very end of the USA-Argentina game, he closed out on Carmelo Anthony, took a cheap shot on him, in the groin actually. at the end of that game in
Chris
the
Paul
2012
special.
Olympics.
Sounds like an
Chris Paul was
expensive
also
shot.
on that team. Chris Paul is also good friends with Carmelo Anthony. I think that he attacked Campazzo first and foremost because he just like, this guy's going to guard me. Like, I want to take this guy every time. I'm going to get some easy points. But I wonder if that incident had anything to do with it.
I think, you don't forget stuff like that.
You don't forget stuff like that. You definitely don't forget stuff like that.
Especially if you're Chris Paul.
Especially if you're Chris Paul. For sure.
My favorite part about Chris Paul is that, like, he has this entire, like, advertising persona where he's, like, a fun, nice guy.
God.
Like, in real life, he's, like, such a jerk. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, he really is. I'm sure it's
like, he and Jake from State Farm are out there playing bags or whatever. Like, that Chris Paul is, like, talking trash, like, is not cute at all. It's hilarious.
He's so good at being a jerk.
He is. He's like a top jerk.
So, Campazzo's right. It's hard to blame the bench on Campazzo because he only played 4 minutes. He was horrible in that 4 minutes. And as you mentioned, Chris Paul's going after him. But, he played so little that it's not like it's not just him. I do think that the plan this season was for him to play a lot. And I don't know that plans can change in 4 games. What are we in, 5 games? I can't remember. We won 4? 5 games. 5 games in. 1 and 4. I don't know that things can change so much that you're, okay, now he's no longer part of the plan. Like, I think there's still time or this or that. But, man, the early returns, it's not just that they're not, well, he's got to get adjusted. It's that he's actively looking like a guy that doesn't quite belong on the defensive end. And then the offensive end, he looks like he doesn't belong because of Denver's roster construction. I actually, and I mentioned this on yesterday's pod, I know everybody's going to call me a hater. Hey, somehow people think I don't like Michael Porter. I've said this on the show yesterday. There's only 2 players, the Nuggets, that I've actually been like all in on. Yeah. Jokic and Michael Porter. Jamal Murray, I'm now all in on, but I was late to that party, right? But
you have like a special way of like convincing everybody that you don't like anybody. It's pretty remarkable.
I do have a good way. I do that pretty well.
Like, I think Kale thinks you don't like him right now.
Well, I mean, Kale, I don't, whatever. But no, I'm just kidding. I love you, Kale. But yeah, no. So Campazzo, offensively, man, I do feel like he could be good if you put the ball in his hands and give him a bunch of shooters. Well, can Denver do that? Jermichael Green, Hartenstein, Will Barton eventually, Monte Morris, though, but then Monte Morris so tiny.
The mini lads are a straight bust. You just cannot. That just can't exist. We can't, like, Facu Campazzo only works if he is running the show. There's no other option. Like, he can't play off ball. There's no chance. Like, we can't have PJ Dozier in there with him. Like, it needs to be Facu, Will Barton, Jermichael Green, Hartenstein, and then like Greg
Michael
Whittington.
Porter,
Greg Whittington.
I mean, Greg Whittington, those I don't know going to space the floor either. Like, this is the thing is, I do think if you were asking me what would work for Facu, it'd be Michael Porter, Jamal Murray, Isaiah Hartenstein, because I do think a rolling big is actually better for his
saying,
team.
like, we saw a lot in the last game where we started to get pick and roll with he and Hartenstein. It was working.
That's why I said Hartenstein.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to put shooters around him. That's what I was trying to do.
Yeah.
But he'll never play that lineup, though. That's the thing, is it doesn't make sense. You're not building lineups around Campazzo. Like, Campazzo has to find a way to fit into this team. And I worry with his size, his physical limitations, and his skill set. I just don't. It doesn't seem to be early returns that he makes sense in a Denver configuration.
Yeah. So, I mean, coming into this year, I feel like the Nuggets thought their primary bench lineup was going to be Monte Morris and Facu Campazzo in the backcourt, Jermichael Green and Isaiah Hartenstein at the 4-5. At the 3, PJ Dozier, Will Barton.
Neither of those options make sense to me in that configuration.
Golly.
I mean, Michael Porter kind of does.
Yeah. The Nuggets have 4 point guards right now.
They can't play him.
And they're trying to play like 4 of those guys together, or 3 of those guys together on their second unit, in Morris, Campazzo, and PJ Dozier. Can it work? Like, I'm not ready to totally write it off, but I mean,
I've written it off, dude. It's done.
I've written it off with those 4 guys. Like, Dozier as a 4. Like, I mean, and also, part of this, we have to be honest. Part of this was, and it wasn't so much tonight, but part of it was Will Barton. Everybody talks about Will Barton off the bench makes sense. He's a 6-man gunner, but you don't put a gunner next to Campazzo. Like, so that doesn't make sense.
This roster is just imbalanced. There's a lot of guards, and I'm just going to throw this out there. I think if Gary Harris had trade value, I don't know if he's on the Nuggets right now.
Yeah.
And that would mean you would slide Will Barton to the 2, and then, that clears out the guard rotation a little bit. But it's just imbalanced right now. It's imbalanced. There's a lot of guards. There's not a lot of wings. And this has been a worry the whole time, but like Denver getting lit up by opposing small forwards.
Right.
Like we saw it on opening night. Harrison Barnes looked incredible. Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. It's going to be a thing throughout the whole season.
Yeah.
So, interesting question. A lot coming up in the comments relating to what you're talking about. With the bench struggles, why is Zeke Naji not getting a look at either the 3 or the 4 with the wing struggles?
It's just because he's a rookie. I
mean,
that's just it. Like, he's just a rookie. Like, they'll put JaMychal Green in well before they'll put Zeke Naji in. Like, and then again, like I mean, I keep bringing it up. I really want to see Greg Whittington. I really want to see this. Like,
you're just so hopeful that he's the new Torrey Craig.
I just want to see him to confirm he's on.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, truly, like we need a guy that goes out there and just plays absolute like dogged defense and will just get in people's faces, create confusion. I mean, right now, like there's just like people that are just comically wide open, just at the rim over and over. Where you're like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing?
It's funny with Zeke Naji. He was really impressive, I thought, in the preseason. And I think you had a couple clips of this, maybe in a list or that you sent to us, where he was like had these possession defending wings.
Oh, it was on the list, yeah,
denying off the ball. And I'm like, wow, like could this guy seems like he's a multifaceted defender.
What I think it is, and look, Michael Malone put out RJ Hampton tonight, so who knows? Maybe anything goes. Yeah. And by the way, if he does get minutes, Zeke Naji, it's going to be 3 minutes at a time. Like, I don't think Malone's going to be like, here's 15-minute stretch.
Yeah, if Zeke Naji is giving us like real meaningful minutes, it means that there's been a massive failure, which there has been.
There has been.
Yeah.
If it doesn't pick up, I mean, I can see it. It's not going to happen at the beginning of the season. We're 5 games in, so that's why you're not seeing a lot of this stuff. Is that you have to let things sort of play out. All of the players are saying the same things that we've been saying, where you just have to allow chemistry to happen.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, like it's affecting the win-loss column while we're doing this. You always hope that you learn lessons in a win, but we're learning lessons, hopefully, and we're taking L's. So.
Because you're trying to solve a problem, and Zeke Naji is a mystery box. It's not a like maybe he'll do this. It's like we have no idea what he'll do because he's literally never played. So RJ Hampton was that tonight. I mean, it was only 2 minutes, but
you know what name we haven't even mentioned tonight? Not once. Bol.
I think Bol. We might have seen the last of him in the rotation for quite a bit.
His weaknesses happen to overlap with the Denver's biggest weakness, right? So. It's like, oh, maybe he can do all of these things, but it's going to be a liability defensively. But it's like that's exactly what's plaguing everybody else on the Nuggets roster right now. So he might get pushed back. JaMychal Green, I did think did some nice things tonight. I mean, he goes 2 of 2 from the 3-point line, 3 of 3 overall. He only plays that 12 minutes to your point, but he gets 8 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal. Did have 3 turnovers, which is kind of surprising.
4 fouls also.
4 fouls also.
The whistle tonight was
rough, but again, Denver put themselves in that position. Yeah. And then the other guy that I think is worth mentioning tonight was PJ Dozier, because you guys listen to me. He was a team worst minus 15, and it felt like it tonight, in large part because he played so many minutes. But my biggest complaint with PJ Dozier is that he's not quite as good as he thinks he is. I think if he accepted the Torrey Craig role, he could be very good at that. Torrey Craig-esque at it. But he thinks he's a little bit better than that. And there was just so many plays tonight where you're like pressing so
he's in
hard.
a much more magnified offensive role than he should be, probably.
Right.
Like Will Barton clearly didn't have it tonight, and he was a starter. It seemed like PJ Dozier was trying to be like the focal point of the second unit tonight, didn't it?
Yeah, it really did.
There's been a couple games like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny. Like we've lauded and we've awarded him the nickname PJ Composure, and he's not really displaying it. Like he's gone out there and he's just trying to make things happen that aren't there, and it already. You know, when the ball is in his hand, like you kind of cringe already,
right?
At this point in the season, which is not.
This is going to make Nuggets fans hurt. It's going to hurt me to say it. But I think Alex Caruso, I've talked about this over the summer, had one of my favorite quotes. He said, why do guys succeed in the G League but not in the NBA? And he said, because most guys think that they're here to be a star, and they're trying to show, like, hey, look what I can do. I can do this. He's like, if you're in the G League, odds are you're trying to become the role player. Like, they want to find the role player. And I think that PJ Dozier is such a great example of this. He's so talented. And he was a highly recruited high school player, as most NBA players, but not all. But he as a high school guy. So he went from being a guy everybody was like, future star. He's old enough now to, I think, know that, hey, star is probably not in the cards. And I'm not saying that as derogatory. It's just like, hey, you can have a 12, 13, 14-year career because I think he's a talented player. But what you have to start molding yourself into probably isn't what you think. And you need to mold yourself into this really good backup guard that can be a multi-tool and do a bunch of different things. And more often than not, that's not scorer. That's not ball handler taking more than 2 or 3 dribbles at a time. Usually it's 1 dribble at a time or to keep the ball moving. And he just... Some nights he does it, and that's the thing. In the playoffs last year, he wasn't playing. So
that was the perfect role for him.
Because when he got in, he knew exactly what he was in there for. Like, I'm only in here to do this thing, and he would do it. So very concerned with PJ Dozier because I just feel like there's an acceptance with him and what his role needs to be. Moving on from the bench, though.
Can I say one more thing about the bench?
Please.
I think the ideal way the bench unit would run, and honestly, even thinking back to last year and the year before, the Monte Morris, Mason Plumlee pick and roll was kind of at the core of the bench unit's offense. And I feel like, doesn't Hartenstein have to play more than 9 minutes? And like he plays only 9 minutes in a game where Jokic was in total foul trouble and only played 30. And I've got to think a lot of that has to do with just who Phoenix was tonight, and they play a lot of small ball, but so do a lot of NBA teams. And like the Minnesota Timberwolves, Nuggets have 2 games against the Timberwolves coming up. They play super small as well. They play like Jarrett Culver as their starting 4. And I just like wonder what the bench unit offense is going to look like if it's not, a Monte Morris Hartenstein pick and roll, because I think that can be a good combo, or a Facu Hartenstein pick and roll. And I feel like Denver came into the season wanting him to play a bigger role than he has so far.
He was kind of rough tonight, though. But I do agree with you that part of what we're talking about with this bench unit is just identity. And if it was the Campazzo Hartenstein pick and roll, it'd be like, okay, let's see that. But we just haven't. We see that like 1 out of every 10 possessions with that group.
Yeah, I don't. Why are we not seeing that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Why are we that to me, like, that was like a stretch of about 4 minutes that I was like, okay, I can see this. Like, Facu's got the ball in his hand. Barton's playing off. He's stretching the floor a little bit. We're getting some pick and roll with Hartenstein. It's working to a certain degree. Yeah. Like, okay, I can see it. And like, I haven't seen anything like that since. Like, if you told me like what the bench unit was even trying to play like, I have no idea. It's just, the guys are just kind of swirling around and standing still at the same time. Like, I don't know what PJ Dozier's role is. I have absolutely no idea what Facu Campazzo's role is. Monte Morris looks great like he always does. I mean, I got nothing, guys. I have no idea. I don't know what they're supposed to be doing, and they clearly don't know what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah. I feel like units, especially second units, oftentimes need to build a foundation, and then you add off of it. So the foundation, to your point, would be nice if it was, let's master this thing.
Yep.
And then we'll add in these other wrinkles, but it really is like Facu has the ball. Now, this possession, Dozier's the point guard this time. Now, Barton, and mostly it's Barton, to be honest. Before tonight, it was Barton with it. Mm-hmm. And I want to go over to that now because coming into the season, I thought there were 2 things above all. There's really 3 things. The bench to me was third, but I think it's now first. The Michael Porter and his integration into the team was up there, and you could argue that's number 1 too. We'll talk about him last. But then the second thing to me, the second most important thing was Gary Harris / Will Barton. And remember, Gary Harris had just been bad for so long offensively that we didn't know what you would get out of him. And then Will Barton, we didn't know if he was healthy. He had a good preseason, I thought, where it looked health-wise. I don't think he's healthy, guys. And you get tonight from Will Barton and Gary Harris a combined 9 points.
Such a rough night offensively.
1 of 7 from Barton, 2 of 9 from Gary. Now, both of them did have very good defensive moments, and Will Barton at least provides you 5 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal, a block. Like he did some things, right?
Yeah. It's so confusing. You hear about guys like Jason Kidd, like, come into the league and they don't have a jump shot. They find it over time. Like, Gary Harris is going in the exact opposite direction.
Worse.
He has lost his jump shot entirely, and it's not coming back. Like, it's so confusing.
He had a big wide open 3
from the corner
from the corner in
his
this
sweet
game
spot.
Down the stretch. That was a very pivotal miss. And yeah, they combine for 0 of 5, and those are basically 2 shooting guards, right? And they are the only 2 guys in your starting lineup that don't make a 3 tonight, which is something. So, but with Barton, I think he's been really bad last couple games, and I think that I've been a very pro Barton guy, continue to be. I don't think he's healthy, man, and we know this from 2 years ago. He's playing. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the playoffs 2 years ago, where Barton's game just doesn't scale down that well. And tonight he wasn't too aggressive. I mean, whatever. But I don't know. I'm concerned about those two guys because I think they're both not as bad as the bench, but they're also just not positives.
You know what? Something just dawned on me. You know what the problem was tonight? This goddamn gnome.
Oh, no.
Was pointed in the wrong direction the entire night. I cannot believe we blew it.
Oh, we did blow it. We're so sorry, Ava. We're so sorry.
We're sorry, Nuggets Nation. Ugh.
So those guys really concern me. I guess we get to Michael Porter now. He's out this game, and it sounds like 3 more. We don't know the exact number just yet because we don't actually know the details. I mean, they said that it's for COVID protocols. He was exposed to someone with COVID. I think that was the official line that we've gotten.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like he himself has COVID, but it also has not been confirmed. It has not been confirmed one way or the other.
Right.
The way it has been talked about from Shams and with the Athletic and the people reporting, I think even Mike Singer, was that they the next 4 games, meaning tonight and 3 more. Which, look, man, I just did this big impassioned podcast just yesterday.
2021 sucks. I'm going to say it right now.
Podcast while hanging out with somebody with COVID.
Yeah, maybe. This is cool, man. Just talking about how the challenge in front of Denver is all about getting, and it still is, about getting familiar with him and this or that. And it just sucks that now goes on hold because let's be honest, my hope is that 3 games from now, Denver has some momentum and some chemistry going. And so to have to... do the next 3 games become this like little limbo and then he comes back and then it's like now we reset the chemistry part?
Can you believe how big every game feels right now?
I know, it is funny. I was thinking about that earlier.
Like it feels like the pressure is mounting, which is
it's
comical,
really
but it's
be,
like,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know. This is such a strange season in the NBA. It really, like, there are so many teams that you thought were going to be good that suck, and so many teams that you didn't think of much of that are like good, which is every year, but this like weird no off season is like it's affecting a lot of players. Yeah. It's affecting a lot.
What sucks about Porter being out at this moment is that this whole season, I've said this, and you've said it too, the number one priority was getting him and Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic on the same page. And we all knew that wasn't going to come overnight. It was going to be a slow build. And that's what this regular season was going to be about. And when you put a hiccup like him missing games this early, if you put that on the table already, it's just kind of a roadblock,
Of course.
Porter had a great game the other night. Obviously, Jamal Murray wasn't in the lineup, but
can't get it to go.
But this whole season was about a slow build, getting those 3, on the same page, taking steps to get those 3 comfortable playing with one another. And this is just a setback. Right. It's a setback in that process.
That's what it is. Is a setback as a team that's already kind of suffered a few setbacks because of how the ball's bounced and a few different things. So, all this to say, they are 1-4. Like the sky isn't falling for them. It's just, I guess the sky is falling, but it has a long way to fall yet. The sky is way up there still.
But it is in a downward.
It is in a downward fall at the moment.
It's unfamiliar territory because these guys have gotten off to great starts over the last couple of years. That's been a staple of this team. So it's just weird seeing them struggle out of the gate.
Silver lining, Murray looked absolutely fantastic tonight, and he's had little pockets where he's looked good. I thought this was the first time he looked good for at least most of the game. And then Jokic, foul trouble aside, I thought also looks absolutely fantastic. So your 2 best players, we talked about this being the best years of their career, and I still think that is likely to be what happens with them this year, but everything else on the margins is just such a mystery right now, and the clock's ticking. They do have some winnable games coming up, a home and away against the Timberwolves.
Yeah, you got to take advantage of these
without
games.
Karl-Anthony Towns.
For sure. I mean, this should be 2 wins. It should be.
Oh my God, no Karl-Anthony Towns?
This should be 2 wins.
So the DraftKings pick of the week is Jokic rebounds or assists if they're available.
Should be 2 wins.
So Denver has an opportunity here, and you can hit the music here, Kale, but Denver has an opportunity to kind of right the ship, but man, it just feels like the issues with them are mounting, and they really got to figure out.
They're so glaring too. They're so loud.
They're so
loud.
Do you think we see a drastically different? Is there a move Malone makes with the second unit that changes things? Maybe that's the same personnel, but staggered. Is there something different about the next game?
Well, the problem with Porter being out, that kind of limits your staggering a little bit. It limits your flexibility a little bit. So I'd say no. I'd say no. I'd say we see this bench unit again to be honest.
What do you think, Eric?
Maybe because I just don't know what the move is.
I know. I feel that way,
There's
too.
not an obvious move out there.
Well, I think more minutes for Green, although if he gets 4 fouls in 11 seconds or whatever, that probably...
He had one really tough one on him tonight, too. There was some weird
I mean, I think inserting him in a meaningful way in that second unit is going to be key to really trying to get that defensive identity going. Like, I want to see Facu running the show, or I don't want him on the floor. Like, just that's it, you know. And then beyond that, like, I just don't know what you do, man. I'm at a loss with this bench unit.
Yeah. Hey, you get 2 wins against Minnesota. You beat Dallas on Serbian Christmas. Things are looking a lot different.
Man, it all changes on Orthodox Christmas, baby. Get us back to even, and then the real season begins. Am I right? Yeah. All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. Of course, don't forget, this is also a podcast. If you miss, like I said, I do podcasts in between these live shows, so you might have missed yesterday's show on Michael Porter and on a lot of the themes. Even though he's out, it's still pertinent stuff. So if you missed it, I highly encourage you to go back and listen to that, and then just subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, is Stitcher around still?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Apply
Spotify.
Spotify. Follow us on GeoCities or
SoundCloud. You can buy our mixtape up on Bandcamp.
Find us on MySpace. Would you please?
MySpace page
throw,
really popular
throw us
right
a
now.
like on YouTube, guys, and drown out the haters.
Drown out the haters.
We got
the haters out in full.
Six haters today. 104 likes, but 6 haters. I mean, we're picking up haters.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you guys next time. Sunday night.